And the next sutta is 22.59. At Benares, in the Deer Park. At one time, the Exalted One addressed the group of 5 monks. Body, monks, is not the self. If body, monks, were the self, then body would not be involved in sickness, and one could say of body, let my body be thus, let my body not be thus. But monks, inasmuch as body is not the self, that is why body is involved in sickness, and one cannot say of body, let my body be thus, let my body not be thus. Feeling is not the self. If feeling, monks, were the self, then feeling would not be involved in sickness, and one could say of feeling, let my feeling be thus, let my feeling not be thus. Likewise with perception, volition, consciousness, they are not the self, and you cannot say, let my perception, volition or consciousness be thus, let them not be thus. I just stop here for a moment. Here the Buddha is saying that the 5 aggregates are not really you, and not really yours. If the 5 aggregates are you or yours, then you should be able to have control of the 5 aggregates. For example, when we are young, we want to grow old. We want to grow up very fast. And even though you want to grow up very fast, you can't grow up faster than the natural pace. And one day you've grown up and you're very happy. But after that, you start growing old. And when you start growing old, you think you want to stop the aging process. You would like the aging process to stop. But even then, you have no control over it. And especially after 40, when you start to age quite fast, there is no way you can apply the brakes. This is why the Buddha says, you have no control over, for example, let my body not be sick, but you have no control at all. Similarly, in the Bible of the Christians, Jesus Christ told them that you cannot even add 1 cubit to your body's height. You cannot make your body grow taller by, I think a cubit is something like a 4 arms length. And so, the body is not yours, it is not you. Similarly with feelings, we discriminate between pleasurable feelings and unpleasant feelings. When you have unpleasant feelings, you want them to end immediately. Otherwise, you feel a lot of grief, you feel a lot of sorrow, and you don't like it, you want it to end immediately. But when you have pleasurable feeling, you want to prolong it. And you want to prolong it, for example, by taking drugs, going to all sorts of ways to prolong your pleasurable feelings. But the body can't take it. And if you try to prolong it too much, you might blow your mind, as they say. Even though we try to control these things, these 5 aggregates, there is no way we can control them. They react according to conditions, causes and conditions. Now the Buddha continues. What do you think, monks? Is body permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Lord. And what is impermanent? Is that pleasurable or painful? Painful, Lord. Then what is impermanent, painful, unstable by nature? Is it fitting to regard it thus? This is mine. This am I. This is myself. Surely not, Lord. So also is it with feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. Therefore, monks, every body, whatever, be it past, future or present, be it internal or external, gross or subtle, low or high, far or near, every body should be thus regarded as it really is by right insight. This is not mine. This am not I. This is not myself. Every feeling, every perception, every volition, every consciousness must be so regarded. So seeing monks, the well-taught Aryan disciple feels wearied with body, feels wearied with feeling, with perception, with volition, with consciousness. So feeling wearied, he becomes dispassionate. Being dispassionate, he becomes freed. Knowledge arises that in the freed is the free, so that he knows destroyed is rebirth, lived is the holy life, done is my task, for life in these conditions there is no hereafter. Thus spoke the Exalted One, and the group of 5 monks were pleased thereat, and welcomed what was said by the Exalted One. Moreover, by this teaching thus uttered, the hearts of those 5 monks were freed from the asavas without grasping. That's the end of the sutta. This sutta is called the Anatta Lakkana Sutta, and it was spoken by the Buddha to his first disciples, the group of 5 monks. And after speaking this discourse, all of them attain arahanthood. And so the Buddha is saying, the 5 aggregates, body, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness, which is basically also body and mind, is impermanent. And because it is impermanent, it is painful. And what is painful and impermanent, unstable by nature, it is not fitting to regard it as this is I, this is mine, this is myself. And when a person realizes this, then he becomes disenchanted, or wearied with the 5 aggregates. And following that, he becomes dispassionate. He lets go of the attachment for the 5 aggregates, and he becomes liberated. Now, if we take what is impermanent, painful, unstable by nature, to be I, to be mine, to be myself, then we are taking up a burden of the 5 aggregates, a burden of the 5 khandhas, and this is a burden of suffering. It is only when we let go of these 5 aggregates, we don't take it up as a burden, as I, mine, and myself, that we let go of this burden of suffering, then we can be released. There is another sutta that discusses this 5 aggregates as a burden. Now, how to see that the body and the mind is not I, not mine and myself, is to practice contemplation of the body and the mind, to see that the body and the mind depends on conditions, that the body arises because of food, because of the union of mother and father, and later of food, and it subsists on food, and is very dependent on food. And the mind, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness depends on contact. And when there is contact with the 6 sense doors, 6 sense objects, then the mind starts to work. And when we understand the nature of the body and the mind, then we become wearied, disenchanted, and following that, we let go of the 5 aggregates and become free.